Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Talk It Out platform. I'm Alec Lifshos, aka Trey Busy, and you are listening to the 11th episode of the Shine the Light on Toxic Relationships podcast. This podcast is hosted and taught by published author and certified life coach Celicia Shan. Celicia, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Alec, I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right for the most part. I'm excited to be able to get back in the gym on Friday. I can't wait.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna let y'all do it first, and I'm gonna see what happens to the guinea pigs, and then I'll head out.
Well, you have a very important lesson to teach us tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and jump right into it.
All right, yes. So, hey, friends, how abundant are you today? And I hope that you can really sit back and think about all of the things that you can be grateful for in your life. Gratitude shifts your attitude. And a lot of times, when we are surrounded by negativity, we fail to think about the great things. And we fail to think about the great things within the negative things because there's always something to be grateful for. But since this is Pride Month, I wanted to touch on a topic that hits close to home for me and what we don't really see or talk about much, right? And that is a woman who have been in a relationship with a man who is secretly gay. So, some people call it men that are on the down low. I'm not sure if that phrase has been taken away yet, but that's the slang phrase for men that's on the down low. So nowadays we are seeing so much more support for the LGBTQ community, which is great. And many people feared living in their truth due to harsh criticism, being wrongfully judged, and for some, they fear losing their lives. Many people fear living in their truth in general because of failure. But to fear living in your truth due to losing your life, it sounds like a life filled with torture. And I know for some cultures, especially the Caribbean culture, that gets real. So the fear of living your truth makes many people who identify with the LGBTQ community not come out. And some men who are homosexual will maintain heterosexual relationships and keep their truth from their woman partner. So, as it is being Pride Month, I see many older men coming out and expressing their truth, right? From the past, we've had Bruce Jenner, who is now Caitlyn Jenner, the singer Tank, and Malik Yoba recently came out and said that, trans women, he looks at them as just women and he is indeed attracted to them. And on an everyday, smaller scale, basis, everyday people like you and I, people are coming clean all over the world about their them having attraction to the same sex. So some were in long-term marriages with children involved and lived a lie their entire lives. There are some wives whose corporate husbands were cheating on them with, another male within the firm. And I've heard stories. I've heard multiple stories, right? And we celebrate those men who liberate themselves and set themselves free, for living in their truth. But what happened to the women who are in the relationship, giving their heart and soul to someone who was pretending to be someone else? What impact was left on them and how they will never be the same after this experience? So no one ever talks about the toxic relationship of being with a man who was secretly gay and the pain and the deceit from it. They mainly jump to celebrate the liberated one, which is great, but with your path and with you choosing to wait and live a lie, there are other people in the midst of that were affected. And so this story hits home for me because I can totally relate. And I'm going to share my story with you guys, um, and just so you can get a picture of what I went through. So my first real adult relationship happened. And I say real because my boyfriend moved into my apartment after his roommate decided to suddenly end their lease. And when you live together, right, it's really serious. So I wasn't really on board with how fast the relationship was moving, but I figured if I was going to be with him for the rest of my life, I why not? So I spoke to my dad about the decision and he mentioned it would be the best way to get to know someone, right? Great advice. Great advice. nice. Not really. But indeed it was. So this guy was my dream man, I thought. He was tall, dark, and extremely handsome. And I know this sounds like the most cliche description, but he fitted to the T. There's really no other way to describe him. But his eyes were dark and as deep as if they've witnessed some of life's darkest challenges beyond his years. You know, eyes that just tell a whole deep story. You just sink into them. You know, he was educated but still had some edge. He was a perfect mix of wisdom and gave me a sense of protection. You know, what women don't want to feel protected? He cooked, he cleaned, he gave massages all the time, and intimacy outweighed intercourse, which probably was a red flag, but at the time I thought it was so sweet. You know, but together we read books, we cooked, we drank, we smoked, we were inseparable. And when we cuddled, my body sank into his like the perfect puzzle piece, and an instant electrical surge ran from my heart to his. This was the deepest connection to a person I've ever experienced. And I never knew a connection like this was possible outside the realm of movies, right? In the Notebook, you know, all those love stories and these fairy tales that paint love that you are like, okay, that's only the movies, but then you experience something like it in real life. So I was extremely grateful, you know, feeling a completion in my soul and a vibrancy in my heart. But there were clues, you know, which I questioned. Hey babe, why did Big DICK and the Grinder app pop up in your search history on your phone? And his reply was, oh, this phone isn't brand new. I bought it from a female friend. My spirit wasn't easy in this relationship, right? Because obviously that raised some eyebrows. So I tossed and turned with nightmares. And one night, I dreamt my late aunt told me I was sleeping with the enemy. I'm one of those individuals that get messages through my dreams. And so I woke up and I ran into the living room where he was doing homework for grad school. And I sat next to him um, with his laptop on his lap. And I said, babe, I had a horrible dream. And when I looked down at his laptop, I completely froze. This man was on a dating website specifically for picking up transsexual. He had a profile with his name and details about his lifestyle, and my face went cold. What the hell are you doing? And so this was a passage taken from my book. At the end of the day, it's me overcoming the addiction to toxic relationship. This man proposed to me and I was fully involved with his family. He was fully involved with mine. But I'm glad that I got out the relationship when I did. But it was the most excruciating pain that I've ever experienced. And I think one of the reasons why when individuals are in these types of relationships, your options are very limited if you even have an option. So we tried getting a therapist because I believe that love is between two hearts and not two genders at the time, right? But while we were in therapy, he gaslighted me and the therapist. And so it was like, okay, there's no hope because this man is now ready to face his truth, which is okay, right? We can't force people into their own expansion. So the trauma from ending these kind of relationships can be painful because women question if they were good enough. You know, wow, I'm not even good enough to be with him. He'd rather be with a man. Situations like these give you no options, like I said, except to separate. So you feel like you're back against the wall. If you fell deeply in love with someone and you're looking at them as your future and then all of a sudden you have no options, that's extremely devastating. Um, so, you know, different from other relationship challenges where, you know, you can have options and you can figure it out and you can choose ways to work together. But in these type of situations, a lot of times the women are just left to just completely let the relationship go, no matter how much you've invested. And, you know, now the man can be liberated if they walk in their truth. And the woman is left with hurt, pain, and shame. You know, trust issues have now skyrocketed and the sense of self-worth is at an all-time low. Trust me, I've been there. And then when you are completely liberated from the relationship and people are asking you, oh, what happened to that relationship? Why did it end? And if you are someone who's open and you mention, oh, it ended because, you know, he was on the down low, or he was secretly into men, or he's secretly gay, whatever, however you choose to word it. I don't know if you've experienced this, but people kind of give you the side eye, like, ooh. And then the awkward questions start flowing in. Hey, so did you get tested? You know, put you in a real awkward position. But don't fear. There is hope. There is hope. You know, for the men listening who can relate and are in similar situations, the best thing that you can do for your partner is to come clean and tell them the truth. The deceit and the lies is still abuse. And that is what makes the situation toxic. No one wants to be lied to. In fact, most of the pain in these situations is not because the man is gay. It is because of the lies and the manipulation. And you know, once you start lying and manipulating, you continue to add on to cover the past lies and the past manipulations. And the respect, you are respected when you tell the truth. You can work with the truth, but you cannot work with lies. And if you are ready to come, and if you aren't ready to come clean, don't drag others into your issues unknowingly. This is selfish. Stay to yourself until you are clear on how you can move forward. So for the women who are dealing with this situation or have dealt with this situation, think back to what you learned. You know, I am a coach. I am a life coach, and I'm a spiritual life coach, and I like relationships because I feel like they're every single thing. Life is about relationships. The quality of the relationships in your life is the quality of your life. And that's the relationship with the world around you. So you have to think back and reflect everything back to you. What signs did you miss, if there were any? I know I had a ton of signs. And I even asked the individual earlier on before the relationship got serious. And, you know, I was like, hey, are you bisexual? And he still denied it. So, you know, trust the actions that you see. How solid are you with trusting yourself when you really think about it? Because if you saw the signs and if you saw the actions that align with the signs, and you claim to trust yourself, but you still let everything go with the flow, how well do you really trust yourself? You know, in what ways are you currently manipulating and gaslighting yourself? Are you seeing the situation for what it is, but you're creating it to be something else that makes it more comfortable for you to accept? How are you gaslighting yourself? What do you need to come clean about within yourself? What are the parts of you that you're afraid to face? These, you know, relationships are our biggest teachers, and they are a reflection of ourselves. And we are never to blame someone for the decisions that we choose. We can only use them to gain more clarity on who we really are that we are unaware of. So look into these parts of you that you are ashamed to claim because they could be controversial. So in this toxic situation, both parties must take some time to heal and learn and grow from your situation. Healing is spending time meditating in nature, journaling, getting in tune with your needs and your emotions and your wants. Figure yourself out. Take as much time as you need. And the more clarity you have with yourself, the more clear you are and able to move forward with taking someone else on. When you are in relationships, it comes with responsibility. Intimacy is into me, is to see into me. And you're taking someone else's well-being into your own hands. It's a huge responsibility, but you can't do that unless you are responsible with yourself. And being responsible with yourself is finding clarity within yourself and doing the inner work. And so find peace within yourself so that you can find peace in your situation and move forward without carrying any negative baggage into your next situation, because that person doesn't deserve it either. So if you haven't already done so and you heard that little snippet from my book, at the end of the day, it's me overcoming the addiction of toxic relationships. Order my book. It's on Amazon, and you can follow me on Instagram at continued_expansion. And if you like a one-on-one coaching session, I am no longer doing the COVID deal, 30 for 30. And I'm glad some of you capitalized on that right before I went out, right before it went out. But I am doing regular coaching sessions. You can contact me if you have any questions. Feel free to send them in. And remember to breathe in that good ass prana. Not trying to be like Ralph Smart, but breathe. Really. It's the best thing that you can do. And that's all I have for you today. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.